Is Bradshaw corrupted? Well, kind of, but no. But he is the reason for a lot of what happens in this bloody book! Hello everybody, welcome back. If you have not been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books. I finally did it. I did Day of the Dead, the last book in the Frieda Klein series by Nicci French. I need to start talking about this straight away, so blurb, 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 blurb. On a North London street, a runaway vehicle crashes. The driver was murdered a week earlier. On Hampstead Heath, a bonfire blazes. In the flames lies the next victim. Across London, a serial killer runs amok, playing games with the police. But these aren't careless, random killings. Every victim spells out a message for just one person. Psychologist Frieda Klein. The message is very simple. She's next. Okay. This was the showdown I needed in my life. I am so glad about that. But yeah, as it says, at this point Dean Reeve is sending out a message to Frieda. And in a way, Frieda is sending messages to him. Bradshaw. I mean, I have wondered how corrupt Bradshaw really was, or if he was just an arse. There is an element of corruption there, but it's not really part of the story. His story is that he's an arsehole who hates Frieda, and it's his fault that the majority of this book happens. Yeah, it would have gone down very differently if Bradshaw hadn't gotten himself involved. Basically, at the very beginning of the book, you are following a young woman who is getting ready to start writing her dissertation, but she has no idea what the subject of her dissertation is going to be. She has a private meeting with Bradshaw, and he tells her to study Frieda Klein, and throws her into the world that is Frieda and the dark guardian angel that is Dean Reeve, our serial killer since book 1. In this book there is mention that this actually has happened on like a yearly basis between each book, so it's been 8 years that Dean has been in Frieda's life. And yeah, this is why it would make such a good TV series. Each book being like a 5 or 6 episodes, maybe not even that, maybe just 4 or 5 episodes for each book, because there's a lot packed in here. But yeah, so when you meet Lola at the beginning of the book, she is quite a feisty young woman. Like, she will do anything to get the story, essentially. She feels very, like, she seems like someone who would actually be an excellent journalist, the way she's trying to insert herself now that she has been given something to focus on for her dissertation. But she's also really annoying. I found her really annoying. And once you get to the end of the book, you realise that it's kind of the point. She's annoying, she's very talkative, and because Bradshaw has put into her head that she should study Frieda Klein for her dissertation and look at Frieda's involvement in the police, because obviously Bradshaw has his own opinion about Frieda, whether his opinion is truth or fact, yeah, because obviously it isn't. He just doesn't like Frieda, and he's made assumptions about her based on the things that have happened to her over these books. But he's a rightful arsehole. And he uses that information, his own opinion, to coerce people and spread lies about Frieda. And him suggesting Frieda to Lola is the worst thing that he could have done. And even when it all self-implodes, he is still in complete denial of what he has done. So when, after everything that happens to Lola in this book, when she turns back up again and starts ranting about how she's possibly killed Frieda, I'll go into that more in a second, he thinks that it's the talks of delusion and she doesn't mean it, and it was just like, no, you put her in this position and you have essentially killed Lola and Frieda with this stupid decision that you made to get this young woman. I mean, he's known about everything that's happened to Frieda. The last book was when everybody suddenly became aware that Frieda was not rambling and that Dean was back. And he still threw Lola to the wolves. Yes. It is so frustrating, but so good. I can only imagine how different the events would have played out if Bradshaw had not told Lola to write her dissertation on Frieda. Because Lola would never have come to that decision by herself because she didn't know who Frieda was. Well, she knew of her from like the news articles, but she never would have come to that decision on her own without Bradshaw telling her to do it. So if he hadn't told her, the communication between Frieda and Dean would have been completely different. I'm doing that kind of what if situation. I'm wondering if anybody will have able to like kind of piece together what could have happened if Lola didn't get involved. Because Lola, when she can't get much information about Frieda online, she then turns up at Frieda's house, which Frieda isn't there. She's already gone on the run from the previous book trying to protect her friends from the inevitable at this point. She turns up at Frieda's work. She goes to the warehouse where she had rightfully kicked out and say, no, unless you're a patient, you're not getting in. And they know her face at this point, so she can't pretend to be a patient now. She's basically turns into a stalker, does Lola, and she becomes obsessed about finding out everything about Frieda for her dissertation. And it's like, this doesn't feel like just about a dissertation now. It feels very obsessive. But that obsession wasn't there until the idea was put into her head, which is why I blame Bradshaw for the majority of what happens in this book. Because Frieda, when Lola finally finds Frieda, and it's completely by accident, because Lola turns up at Sandy's grave, the boyfriend that died, and Frieda pays her tributes every so often. They may have broken up before he died, but there is an element of love still there because, you know, they were together for a very long time. She likes to pay her respects and just remember the good times, essentially. And Lola sees Frieda in a disguise, like she's dyed her hair grey and all this sort of stuff and cut her hair and just completely transformed herself, but Lola figures out that it's Frieda and tells Frieda, I'm writing my dissertation on you. I can't remember off the top of my head if she actually told Frieda about Bradshaw, but Frieda is straight away going like, you're in this now. Like, you've spoken to people about me, and then when she looks at the research that Lola has done, she finds out that Lola has actually met Dean. Because when she was doing her research and looking, she came across a canal boat, and she spoke to somebody who was just like, oh, I'm researching this, and basically she tells a little bit too much information to Dean, which just gets her broiled in straight away, and Frieda goes into protection mode, saying like, okay, so you've already been introduced to Dean, and so you're officially in this, so maybe now you just need to stay with me and I'll protect you. Which leads on to a series of events of Lola just wasting away. As the book goes on, Lola is literally wasting away. Her mental health takes a dive, she stops eating, she's absolutely terrified. And this is also spurred off the fact that at one point Dean kills Lola's roommate. And it all just goes downhill. And as I said, I blame Bradshaw for everything that happens to Lola in this book. Yes, I didn't like Lola, and I thought she was incredibly selfish. As you get to know her, there is a bit of psychoanalysis going on, because Frieda does, in a way, get inside Lola's head, accidentally, because Lola just won't shut up. And, yeah, so Frieda goes into slight protection mode. She knows that Lola is essentially a victim of Dean at this point, but then she knows more than you realise, because there's things that come out when you're just like, oh, does Frieda know about this? Has she known all along, or is this something that we are going to find out in real time, of Frieda finding out the truth about everything? Because as it said on the blurb, it starts off with a man in a car that ploughs into a shop, and they find out that he was already dead. He's been missing for a while, and so you're looking at these different missing people. And and the different ways that people die, and the association with the hidden rivers in London that Frieda regularly walks across. Because I've shown you before, each of these books starts off with a map of the London's lost rivers. It even says it there, because I don't think it says the London lost rivers in the other books. I'll have to double check that. But that's how Dean and Frieda kind of communicate with each other, through these lost rivers. And the communication is done with dead bodies on the lost rivers. And it's fucking brilliant. It is so good. It's just what I wanted. So thank you so much just to Jen Campbell for not shutting up about these books and making me think maybe I need to give the rest of these a go. Because I read Blue Monday years ago, absolute years ago, and then I started binge watching Jen, and she wouldn't shut up about these books, and it was just like, maybe I should just carry on the series, because I think when I read Blue Monday I wasn't aware it was a series, and then I found the rest of the books online from a charity shop. The rest of the books were about 20 quid. So I got 7 books for 20 quid. Like, I'm not telling my nose about that, I got them. I still have no idea where Blue Monday went. I'll probably find it when I'm packing up to move into my flat. But yeah, it was just so good. There's a reason why Jen Campbell could not shut up about these books, because I can't shut up about these books. This was just the thing I needed from this final book. Absolutely obsessed. As I will continue to say that Bradshaw is the reason for everything that happens to Lola in this book, and it would have happened very differently if Lola wasn't involved. But I do wonder how that communication would have happened, because Lola is such a key part of the communication between Frieda and Dean. So Lola, despite how annoying she is a very, very big part of this. And in that final confrontation between Frieda and Dean, and you get that whole thing of just like, in the moment I can't remember what happened, and I'm just like, are we going to find out what happened? And then we finally get a story from Frieda to her friends about what happened, and I've still got a question mark saying in my head, thinking I still think there's something missing from the answer that Frieda gave. And I love how it kind of came full circle in a way, because it does come back to Dean's brother in a way, and that first chance meeting when in Dean's brother's psychotherapy session, when Joseph fell through the ceiling. Ugh. It is so good. It is so good. So frustrating, but so good. And I just love the fact that in the background of this, while Frieda is out on the run with Lola, that Joseph's just like, you know what? I'm just going to build Frieda a little balcony. And they're like, what? He was like, I'm going to take this window out, I'm going to put in a door, and on this little roof section here, I'm going to make her a little balcony, and everyone's going, where are you getting this stuff from? It's like, oh, it's just left over. Just like, for when she comes back, and there's some people are going, when she comes back, she will have this. I mean, he's done so many things to her house at this point anyway, because like he got her a brand new bath and things, because she loves to have a bath to wind down, and it's all stuff left over from other jobs that he's done. And when he's building that little balcony, and he's got... Harry? I know, they're gone, boy. Yeah, they're gone. As you watch this, my parents will be back, but my parents left for Barbados today. And now the cat's just got me. I know. Do you want to sit on me for a second while I wrap this up? He has been sleeping all morning. You chilling there? Yeah. When Joseph is sorting out this little balcony and saying, do you need planning permission? It was just like, well, nobody else can see it, so probably not. The little elements of comedy that come through from Joseph and Frieda's friends and family, it's enough to just balance the real darkness of these books, but I absolutely love it. But yeah, for me, the big thing is just Bradshaw is an arsehole, and he essentially wrote Lola's suicide note. And that's not like me saying that Lola dies in this book, I'm just saying he made a fatal error by suggesting Frieda Klein as being the premise of her dissertation, because it's his fault that she found her, it's his fault that she went out and started talking to people about Frieda, it's his fault that she met Dean, it's his fault that she got involved and then had to go on the run with Frieda. It's entirely Bradshaw's fault. Yes, there's a serial killer in there who is communicating with Frieda through dead bodies on hidden rivers and telling Frieda that she is going to be the last one. Dean, because of Lola's involvement, finds a new way to communicate with Frieda, and Frieda finds a new way to communicate with Dean. But I do wonder how it would have played out if Lola wasn't there. That's so much thinking to do about a fictional book series, but I think it's a very valid thing to wonder, because it's Bradshaw's fault. It's not Bradshaw's fault, the fact that Dean is in her life. That happened in the first book, when the twin turned up, he was having dreams, and it turned out he was having twin telepathy, basically, with his twin brother that he wasn't really aware existed. But Bradshaw's behaviour after all of that is what led to this moment of people ostracising Frieda, refusing to work with her, not believing her when she was just like, no, Dean is still alive, it was his twin brother that was killed in the first book. And yeah, you'd hear me get really frustrated about this. But it's made me passionate, and it is so good, and it is so brilliant, and oh, if you have not read these books, I totally recommend them. This is not one to do out of order, people. You need to get the full story from book 1 all the way through to book 8. So you've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, finishing with Day of the Dead. The whole thing takes over 8 years of Frieda's life. It's amazing she's still standing at the end based on everything that she has gone through. It would be so interesting if anybody ever did like an essay about these books. I would read an essay about these books and the involvement of Frieda and her relationship with Dean and her relationship with the other twin and Bradshaw's involvement in the whole thing. Because ultimately, Bradshaw is an arsehole. Anyway, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I was really frustrated at times. I did not like Lola. I obviously did not like Bradshaw. And you're not meant to like Bradshaw. As you get to know Lola, you realise how naive she actually is and how easily manipulated she is. But at the same time, she is manipulated in a very, very vulnerable position. I really am skirting the spoilers there. But yeah, Day of the Dead. Nicci French. I am going to continue reading Nicci French books. I've read a couple of other kind of like one-offs, you know, ones that aren't part of a series. But there is a new series, I know, that has like the disappearance of Charlotte Salter, and there's another book in there as well that they confirmed is in the same, it's got a common detective or something, I don't know. But yeah, thank you for watching me try to dissect these books and Bradshaw's involvement in the whole story. Who would play Bradshaw? Who is slimy enough to play Bradshaw is my question. If anybody has any ideas about who could play any of these parts. It's like Frieda's described as being quite tall, dark hair, she's very stoic, she doesn't really show that much emotion. It's almost like a wall that she's built up, and you find out why about her relationship with her family and the boyfriend that she breaks up with. I just think of Bradshaw as being slimy, and he essentially has an obsession with Frieda that he refuses to admit to. But yeah, so I'm going to shut up now, because I've got Yellow Jackets lined up. I've never watched Yellow Jackets, but my hairdresser yesterday, because I just got my hair done, could not stop raving about Yellow Jackets, and she told me don't eat when you watch it, because I've heard that because it's kind of Lost style, people lost on an island type thing, that there's a bit of cannibalism going on. So I was just like, yeah, I won't eat anything. I ate long enough ago that I think it's safe for me to watch it. But yeah, so I'm now going to go watch the first episode of Yellow Jackets and then let Fab, my hairdresser, know what I think. And because I think the first season is like 10 episodes or something, so at almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon at this point. It looks really dark outside considering it's only 2 o'clock, but I could at least get through 5 episodes of that today. Easy. To be fair, technically I probably could get through 10 because I'm not actually anywhere in the morning. It's tomorrow night that I'm out. So yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Just because I finished this does not mean Series Sunday is over. I am reading plenty of series at the moment. Series Sunday ain't going anywhere, people. But yeah, so thank you, and I will see you next time with another video. Stay safe. I love you all. Bye!